I started thinking a lot about identity lately. In particular, I started thinking about the question, who are you? And the reality is, most people will not be able to reply to it if you straightforward ask this question. And that's because most people don't have a well defined idea of what their identity is. They just genuinely don't know themselves. If you look at the word identity itself, or the term or the notion, anywhere on the internet or in a dictionary, you'll just be met with a very vague definition. Uh, Identity is, quote, a distinguishable set of characteristics that differentiates an individual from others. And this works to some extent as a definition. Particularly, it works in theory. If you think about it, everybody has a distinguishable set of characteristics that truly could make them identifiable from a crowd. But in practice, it's not that well thought out. Uh, what is truly an identity? Can you truly consider yourself quote unquote unique? Um, if you think about ideas, like theoretically, you do have one particular trait or characteristic that makes you unique from other people. And it works to some degree, but in reality, most people are very similar. And they share a lot of traits to a point where that part of them that makes them unique isn't as big as they would actually think it is. Uh, it's true that some people are more unique than others. Some people are more distinguishable than others. Some people share that extra set of characteristics that just defines them from the crowd. And it's it's mind blowing how easy to notice that is. You know, for the past 2 months, I asked the same question to most people that I've encountered randomly at different events or at different get-togethers. This question is, what is your biggest passion, or what is your essence? I'm very, very interested by this word essence. You know, the essence of a person. And whenever I ask this question, I actually mean like what drives you forward in life? Like what is your energy? What is something that you're very, very obsessed by? And you truly wouldn't mind chasing for the rest of your life. And most people don't answer this question. Once again, just like this question of who are you, they just cannot answer this question. They first of all would have a very weird face because okay, that's very, very weird. Just somebody random asking you such a deep question. It's something that requires you to open up to a stranger, and it's very, very uncomfortable. But once they pass through that level of uncomfortableness, they just start giving very bland answers. They fill their answers up with banalities. They just initiate their interests or just their basic hobbies, and that works to some extent, but you don't really feel that essence or that energy or that drive in them that would actually make that interest the passion, you know. It's very, very complicated, and that's where you actually notice or you find out that that person doesn't really know themselves well. And why does that happen? Because you truly need to know yourself. Like, you have to have a very good understanding of yourself and your behavior and your identity and how you act and feel in certain ways for you to actually be able to chase success properly, you know. Because for you to take action or for you to be able to have success, you need to walk a certain road, you need to put in effort, right? But where do you put that effort in? Like, what is the interest or the activity or the hobby or like that passion that you want to chase? And most people just don't have it. And why does that happen? That's because we just don't know their identity. If you think about it scientifically, identity is actually a part of the social sciences, and it is divided, or it is comprised of a lot of smaller variables or smaller components. An identity, first of all, is created or requires the national component, your national identity. Another very important thing that truly defines you as a person, or influences the way that you see yourself, is your gender identity. One more important thing is your career and interests. By career, I don't necessarily mean just your professional life, but I actually mean like this passion or this obsession that you have, and other things like personal life as well, family, friends, very close people. Those define your identity as well. And starting with national identity, many people take national identity as their answer, first of all. Sooner or later, a lot of people just choose to have one of those components that I have just initiated as their dominant character trait, making them their entire identity, which is straight up wrong, because they eventually realize that this is not really a comfortable way of defining themselves. Starting with national identity, each person has a national identity. It's determined by the environment that you've grown up in. It's very, very simple. It's straightforward. You grow up in a place and you have a specific set of beliefs and ideas and perspectives on things that are determined by the place that you've been raised in, the society that you've been brought up in. And you can be American, you can be, I don't know, Italian, German, Romanian in my particular case. But sooner or later, you find out that this identity, this national identity, this word of Romanian or Italian or whatever group or national group you're part of, doesn't really fit your identity as a whole. It's very, very easy to understand it. It's common knowledge, but for some reason, people still subconsciously don't understand this thing, They say, hey, yes, I know that this doesn't fully define my personality and identity, but they still fall prey or victim to this way of making it dominant in your personality, especially when you're young, As a person that is young, you typically want to belong to a group. This sense of belonging or being part of a group is very, very important to you, because it's an innate need, And what happens is that you join that group and you start feeling comfortable about the fact that you belong to it. You share the same beliefs, you share the same thoughts and opinions about matters with that particular group. And that makes you feel comfortable, which is why you take this identity as being you. In reality, this identity box of quote national identity doesn't really work, because sooner or later you find out that your nationality is just a small part of you. Problems start to arise once you start traveling, for example. Once you get exposed to our cultures, once you get exposed to our languages and beliefs, you realize that your own beliefs and ideas are being shaped by that exposure. I've recently met a person on a project in Spain, and that person asked me a very, very good question. So suppose you are being teleported to a different town or a different city that has a totally different culture, and let's take, for example, New York, right? And you start having a conversation with one of the people around there that is more or less your age, right? What is the chance that you'll have more things or more topics in common with a person from your country compared to a person from that particular town? And this question got me thinking. I realized that the opinions and the beliefs and the topics that I am genuinely uh, interested by, and that I could consider to be part of my identity, don't fully revolve around my national identity. And it just doesn't really work. It becomes even more problematic once you start learning a second language or a third one, or once you start having a lot of friends that aren't exactly from your country. You have that sense of national identity to some degree, but it doesn't really work anymore. So you can't really use national identity to fully answer your question of who am I, right? Um, which is why it particularly doesn't work for people that age and are getting older, because they obtained a lot of experiences throughout their lives, and they understand that, hey, I can't, or my identity can't be put in the small box of national identity. Similarly, with gender identity, some people just try to make it dominant, like my whole life revolves around me being a man, or me being a woman, or me being part of another gender group that isn't those two. And while this actually could potentially work to some degree, you again start feeling that, hey, this doesn't fully answer my question of who am I, and it leaves you uncomfortable. You don't really understand what is happening, but you understand that your identity isn't fully defined, or you don't really know yourself well, because you only decided to explore one side of your identity, or one component of your identity, and that's not really how your identity is shaped and developed. And there are other groups as well. Your personal life matters a lot, but you being a dad or a mom or a brother or a sister or any other member of the family is just one small part of your identity. It doesn't fully shape you. If you try to focus too much only on the family identity or your personal life, you'll again fall prey to the fact that you don't really know yourself well. So, why does this matter? Like, why should you try to actually get to know yourself? Well, it's because, and that's why I actually realized or decided to make this video, it's because you need to have a very well defined road to walk on. You need to have a path to strive towards, and you don't really have that path, or you can't fully know that path until you've tried to put in some effort into finding more information about yourself and who you are. And for me, in my particular case, because I faced this issue, like I had quote unquote a national identity crisis, like who am I? That's why I just decided that, hey, I'm going to take a lot of paper, I'm going to take a pencil, and I'm just gonna note down this question: who am I? And try to answer it in a very, very broad way, in a very, very detailed way. Try to reflect upon it and try to think damn hard about those components that make up my identity. And once you start reflecting upon it, it works, because you'll never truly be able to answer this question fully. You'll never be able to have a perfect answer to your question, to get to know yourself perfectly, because you're just a liquid mess of ideas and opinions and experiences that changes throughout your life. Every single day you change as a component in terms of how do you think of yourself. And that's why this answer to the question of who are you will change every single day. Still, it's very, very good to ask this question, because then you actually have a path that emerges from this self-reflection. You understand that, hey, there are some things that I'm interested by, there are other things that I'm not interested by, and these are my priorities. The problem with most people is that, and this is a problem as well with the internet nowadays, is that you get a lot of advice that just tells you don't think, or don't reflect, and just take action, just do do it, and then along the way you'll find out more information. But that's not entirely true. It works only to some degree. This works for people that perfectly know their passion, although I would want to find these people out, because in reality I haven't really found a lot of these people. It works for the people that know damn well what they are interested in, what their passions are, what they want to chase in life, but they just don't chase it. And in that case, yes, you need gasoline to make the car run. But this is only part of the process, because most people don't have that passion or that interested that is very well defined. They don't really understand what they want to chase, and this is where it gets problematic, because you are expected to run towards a goal or to run on a path towards something, but you don't even know what that path is, or what that road is, which is just ignorant. You shouldn't really try to put in effort into something that you don't really understand or can't properly recognize as it being your interest. Um, which is why before you even try to start chasing something, you should first of all be very, very, I don't know, very well informed about who you are. Have a very good grasp on how you act, how you behave, what your interests are, what you're passionate about, who you are as a human being, what do you represent in terms of interests, beliefs, opinions, emotions. And that can only be done with self-reflection. Just take a piece of paper or take a notebook and start writing. No matter how much you try to answer the question, it won't work entirely. But slowly you'll become more articulate. You'll understand yourself a little bit better. This is not exactly journaling. Journaling is a little bit different. This is specifically trying to understand what you're interested by, who you are as a person, what your beliefs are. Getting to know yourself is a difficult process, is a lengthy process, which requires a lot of effort and time. And that's what I don't see in people. I don't see that effort and time spent for them to properly understand themselves. They may have some small interests that they have explored on the surface. They may have some feeble dreams that they haven't properly thought about, but they haven't properly pictured what their future should be, or what they want to do in life, or who they are as a person. Maybe your identity isn't properly shaped. Maybe that particular group that you believe you belong to doesn't really define you as a person correctly. And in that case, what are you doing in the wrong place? You know, you have the car that runs at a very good speed, but you don't know your direction. You don't know where you want to go. So what's the point in having a very fast car in this case? And 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 the easiest way to once again find that road or find that drive or find that passion is to just take some time with yourself and write down everything. Get to learn yourself. This also means that you have to get to know people, try to explore things. The action is very important. You have to go out and explore your interests, try new hobbies, new activities, try that new sport that you are thinking about. But you want to be able to understand what you want to try out, or the actual things that you want to try, until you have spent a good enough portion of your time studying what you are subconsciously interested by. And these interests won't reveal themselves until you've actually sat down and wrote them on paper. Like, start to think about it. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 30 minutes. What am I interested by? What do I want to do in life? Who am I as a person? And they will slowly reveal themselves. These interests or these beliefs that you have will slowly emerge from within. They just require time. And if you're like me, in my particular case, when I started this, because I've been doing this type of exercises ever since I was, I don't know, 15, 16. I've been writing a lot of goals all the time, trying to force myself to explore a lot of things, just to fighting, just to languages, music, a lot of sciences, a lot of math, a lot of things that are definitely out of my comfort zone. Even talking to people every single day, trying to share ideas and connect with others, that also requires effort. What I have realized is that I am a person that is very, very excited by new things, you know? And most people are excited by new things. Like, you'll want to write 100 or 200 things on the paper right away. That was something that happened in previous videos in my particular case as well. I was very, very interested by a lot of skills, a lot of subjects, and it worked to some degree. But the more you do this exercise every single day, trying to write down your passions and interests, or like the things that you want to explore, the more you'll realize what your actual priorities are. You'll find out that, hey, in reality, I want to chase one thing more than the other, even though I didn't really know that there was a difference between those things until I started writing them. For example, in the past, whenever I started this exercise, I wanted to do both gymnastics or gym and calisthenics. And I wanted to go in the gym and lift weights, and I also wanted to do calisthenics. And some people may think that that's good, you know, you can just do both. Some people think that just one is enough. But until you've sat down and wrote both of them as areas of interest that you may particularly target, you won't really know what you want to prioritize. And I've done gym for years. I am very well informed about what it is. You know, same thing with calisthenics. I've done a lot of calisthenics. I know that they both are very interesting to me. But when it comes down to making a choice, you have to prioritize one over the other, because you only have a limited amount of time in your life. And that's where this passion or interest or fight of interests comes to clash, you know. And that's where you make your choice. It requires time because you have to write it down, and you realize that you have to give up on something. And you won't truly understand what you want to give up on until you've done it for long enough to understand that, hey, I'm willing to let go of this thing to make this other thing even better. So I don't know. My definite answer to, or solution to this question of who are you is, well, have you tried hard enough to actually get to know you? And if you haven't, just put in some effort, some time, and you'll slowly have your answers.